Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at an article from Politico. Now, this was published on July 4th. It's written by David Siders. And yeah, it's so funny. You know, they tried to have the polls create reality in 2016. And it failed. Now, they're trying to do it, and they're doing it even harder than they did back in 2016. And it's ridiculous. Biden builds lead as Trump goes from trailing to flailing. See, they push all this propaganda, so they get a little bit of a shift. Okay. Oh, look at Trump fuck it up. Oh, Biden, sleepy, senile old Biden would have handled things so much better. Are they kidding us? The guy can't keep fucking talk like an intelligent, articulate person. You know, he's sitting there and he goes off on tangents, and they're like, oh, that's a stutter. No, he's senile. Anyway. So Biden's polling lead over Trump is significant, though not unprecedented. Oh, yeah, like in 2016 when Trump had a 5% chance of winning. And, yeah, you people actually bought into your own bullshit. And what's funny is they keep pushing this because they know that the average American, seeing all the shit that's going on right now with these, you know, these like Antifa fuckwits and BLM fucking shitbags that are out there going, oh, we just want equality, systemic racism, and they're looting and fucking rioting, and people are getting shot in like Chaz and, you know, slash Chop. Yeah, they basically don't think that the American people are going to revolt against that. They think they can keep pushing this and it'll become a fucking reality. But they keep allowing that other shit to go on, and that's going to red pill and wake up more Americans than they could ever like deal with, because they're gonna cause people who wouldn't normally be political, who wouldn't normally go out and vote, to do just that. Anyway, let's get into David's little fucking piece of propaganda here. As recently as a month ago, Donald Trump was merely losing. Now he is flailing, trudging into the Independence Day weekend as the nadir of his presidency, trailing in the double digits of recent polls and in danger of dragging the Republican Senate down with him. And now what's funny is you look at almost all these polls, they oversampled Democrats to get that fucking double digit bullshit. CNN's poll that they held up and touted as proof that Trump is fucked, okay, had like major oversamplings of Democrats and independent voters. They said, fuck you, Republicans. Yeah, we don't need to get you into this to figure out who's going to get what. No, we don't need that at all. Oh, God. But there are still 4 months before the election and any number of ways for Biden to blow it. Even the best campaigns can get fucked up, said Kelly Dietrich, founder of the National Democratic Training Committee, which trains candidates across the country. There are millions of ways to lose. Yeah. Like, you people not trying to rig an election? That would allow for creepy Uncle Joe to get his ass spanked, but hey, whatever. You see, you honestly think that you can, like, rig an election and say, oh, yeah, creepy Uncle Joe got in on his own accord. Let's just ignore the fact that, you know, he probably, like, knew fucking Maxwell and Mr. Lolita expressed himself personally, you know, with how he treats children and is, like, inappropriately touching them and shit. I wouldn't be surprised if creepy Uncle Joe was in his little black book. You know, Epstein's book there. Dietrich, like even the most circumspect observers of the 2020 campaign, does not predict that Biden will fall apart. But Democrats carry checklists in their minds of the universe of things that could alter the course of the campaign. She does not predict Biden will fall apart. The only way he's been held together right now is because of people fucking propping him up, keeping him looking like he's fucking cogent, not senile, all right? And the fact of hiding in his fucking basement. If he has to go out on the fucking campaign trail, this is the only thing that saved his ass was the current pandemic bullshit. That's the only thing that saved his ass at this point. Because he isn't out there making a fucking senile idiot of himself or exposing himself to be a senile idiot. Oh, you people. Biden might say the wrong thing at a debate or have an awkward moment in an interview or at a press conference. Trump's massive advertising campaign might begin to resonate, hurting Biden's favorability rating. Biden's campaign might make poor decisions about spending allocations in the battleground states, or the coverage of his campaign might sour if he loses even a percentage point or two in the polls. Presidential candidates with large leads have all suffered from less. Oh, yeah. You leave out the fact that Hillary, 95% or 98% in some polls, chance of fucking winning, got her ass spanked. Yeah. Yeah, you're trying to push a fucking reality right now. It's disgusting. You people are disgusting. It used to be polls were reflective of the nation. Now you want the polls, okay, to change the nation and its view and its vote. You people are disgusting. You're propagandists. You're all scumbags for trying to do this shit. Trying to push a fucking narrative because you can't win an election otherwise. And then there are the factors outside of Biden's control. It is possible that Trump, before November, will announce a coronavirus vaccine, whether real or imagined. And it is possible that the economy will improve, a prospect Republicans are pinning their hopes to. And the economy is improving already. This is the thing. The left and the Democrats want everything locked down, want everything shut down, want everything, the pandemic to fuck all this shit up so that Trump can't say, have the economy be good for him. They can't have anything that would help him. So they're hoping that this continues on because it doesn't look good for him if they can say, well, look, it's Trump's fault the economy shut down when they're the ones calling for the whole thing to be, the whole nation to be shut down. It's disgusting how these people are. So much has changed over a short period of time. So far, much of it to Biden's advantage. Wow, that's not fucking really easily said there, but that it's impossible to rule out any kind of black swan political event. Yeah, you keep pushing, because people are locked up in their homes. You keep pushing this. You've been feeding them bullshit, lies, and propaganda 24/7, the legacy media. All right? They're not buying it about the coronavirus, but you can be pushing, on the note of the shit that's going on because they're looking and they're like, well, wait a minute. You got no problems with all these people taking to the fucking streets. But if I want to go to here, you say I'm going to kill grandma? Fuck you. And that's one of the things that woke up people. And they're afraid of that. So they keep pushing this. They've got people still on the fucking propaganda train to some extent, the people who pay attention to legacy media with these polls and everything else. All right, the bullshit they've been pushing, that they've been exploiting the pandemic for, saying, oh, it's all Trump's fault. Even though China lied, China caused all this shit to happen. The Democrats were saying, oh, well, to stop travel from China is racist. Okay, and shit like that when Trump was trying to get a whole handle on things and make it so that we wouldn't have a bad outbreak, which we didn't. And the funny thing is you look at how they're trying to keep pushing. Oh, look at the numbers increasing, but you look at the death rate, you look at all these other things, and it's just like, well, it's like the flu, bro, at this point. But they don't want people to realize that. Late this week, Le Francais, a Democratic strategist and former deputy White House chief of staff in the Carter administration, sent an email to a circle of friends, including a former congressman and former administration officials, with the subject line, 123 days until the election and a sobering prospect. Right now, he said, Trump is more than vulnerable, but then he went on to outline a scenario in which Republicans hold down the turnout and significantly harden Trump's base. Think it can't work? Francais concluded, think again. I'm sure they're worried about that. Biden's polling lead over Trump is significant but not unprecedented. The Real Clear Politics polling average has Biden running ahead of Trump by just less than 9 percentage points. Yeah, and the funny thing is all you other polls from 2016 had Hillary ahead of him by 95 to 98 percentage points. Yet here you are trying to push a reality and make it into one. Or push a fallacy and make it a reality, we'll say. Richard Nixon maintained double-digit leads over Hubert Humphrey throughout the summer of 1968, then was forced to scramble in the fall as Humphrey surged. 20 years later, following that year's Democratic National Convention, a Gallup poll put Michael Dukakis' lead over George H.W. Bush at 17 percentage points. Oh, God. You're going to bring up Dukakis? Holy shit. You're fucking desperate to push this shit. Oh, my God. Dukakis had no fucking chance of winning. Not back then. No way, no how, didn't have one. Because, back then, the truth got out. Like, Dukakis with his furloughs allowed murderers to get out of, with his prison furloughs, allowed murderers to get out on furlough who went and killed people. and a bunch of other things that he did in his tenure as governor made him look like shit. They tried to keep it quiet, but back then the legacy media wasn't all Democrat, blue bullshit. And it actually got reported on. Like the shit that he did as governor that made him look like shit. But anyway, Bush is 17 percentage points. As they do today, voters that summer appeared eager for change before abandoning the caucus and voting for Bush because they saw what a shithole he turned Massachusetts into. Holy shit. Once they knew what he did to Massachusetts, they went, fuck me, I don't want that for the country. Sometimes things can look very, very comfortable, and it changes. It can change very, very quickly, said Ken Klashnigan, a former aide to Nixon and chief speechwriter for Ronald Reagan. The psyche of the American voter can be affected by events very dramatically between Labor Day and Election Day. If he were running Biden's campaign, he said, I'd be feeling pretty good now, but I wouldn't be buying property in Northwest Washington quite yet. Okay, I don't know how that helps you. Like, you bring in this guy, you think he's helping you, but he's basically saying, yeah, I'd feel confident, but I wouldn't, bet the bank on it. Do you think that helps you in this article? Perhaps nothing is more indicative of Biden's growing advantage than the changing frames of reference required to doubt it. Throughout the Democratic primary, Biden was so widely expected to implode that several other centrist candidates premised their entire campaign on the expectation. Then came the comparison to 2016 and the polls that put Hillary Clinton ahead of a similar point in the campaign. After it became clear that Biden was on stronger footing than Clinton, the unpersuaded reached back further for examples of catastrophe. Oh my God, he has not been on stronger fucking footing than Hillary at all at this point, number one. Number two, the footing he's on, he's being held up because, he's being held up on it. He would literally topple off of it, okay, and fall to the ground and be like, I've fallen and I can't get up. You John-bound pony, whatever the fuck you are, he would do that. But see, they've kept him away from publicly speaking. They've kept what speaking he's done in controlled environments. It's been short. It's been sweet. It's been to where he's not under any extensive period of time where they can get him on something, or he'll just flub up and show that he's senile. If he had to run a campaign like it would be normally if it wasn't for the pandemic, he would be totally tattooed and screwed right now because he'd have threatened multiple people that were potential voters. He would have called them foul-mouthed names. He would have threatened them. He would have done all stupid shit like calling them fat. He would have gone on and on and on and proved what a fucking idiot he really is, how senile he is. And it would also be, I'm sure, footage of him being very inappropriate with underage people, which they've tried to keep away from, which is another thing. If you look now, since he's been running for president, do they have any minors near him? No, because they know he can't keep his fucking hands to himself, because they know that he's a fucking pervert. Oh my God. Often they settle on Dukakis in his race against Bush. Why? It's not a good example. It's not something to settle on. It's not, unless you're the one saying, look, this is what's going to happen. In one way, the election is uniquely on point for Biden. It was during the 1987 primary, his first run for president, that a plagiarism scandal engulfed Biden's campaign with the discovery that he had lifted lines from a speech by British Labour Party leader Neil Kinnock. So he's basically, he plagiarized from a fucking socialist. And that he never gets credit for that he plagiarized from a socialist. Is there one thing we learned from 88? Biden is capable of screwing up big time, said John J. Pitney Jr., who helped on Bush's campaign in 1988 and wrote a book about that year's last election. Pitney, who went on to become an acting director of research at the Republican National Committee, said that in the current race between Biden and Trump, you have to rate Biden as a decisive favorite at this point. Why? This is what's fucked up. They even got this guy pushing that fucking bullshit. It's so funny that you can't have honesty even from the Republican National Committee, because all he has to say is well, if he had completely said, well, yeah, he might look like a favorite because the legacy media and the Democrats have been propping up creepy Uncle Joe and keeping him locked in a basement like Chunk, like Sloth from fucking Goonies, all right? You might actually have something there. However, he said, what we found in 2016 is even a fewer points in a few states can make all the difference. So that's why Biden shouldn't be counting on napping through September and October. But here's the thing. You say a few points in some states. Literally, the polls were saying that Hillary was going to win by 95 to 98%. That's more than a few points. So far, Biden appears not to be. He has raised more money than Trump in 2 months in a row, and his campaign recently went up for its first major advertising offensive in the general election. So basically, let's be honest here. Okay. Biden doesn't appear to be napping. How can you tell what Biden's doing? He's been hidden in a fucking basement. You have no idea what he's been up to. Okay, maybe his people that are propping him up, that are trying not to make him look like a senile fuck, might not be napping, but he sure as shit is. All right, and this idea that he raised more money than Trump, all of Trump's money came from small fucking donors, from the average American. Biden's money, large corporate donors, most of it. I'm sure most of that fucking money. Oh, look he raised more money. How much of it came from large corporate donors? How much of it came from the multimillionaires and the billionaires and people like Soros who funneled it through their fucking bullshit, their organizations that allow for them to fucking, that launder it through those organizations, allow for them to make large contributions to campaigns and shit. How much money did Soros give to the DNC? Let's look at the actual breakdown of how much money was raised and from the sources it came from. Because I'll put your money right now. Oh, well, Biden got all this money. Yeah. How much from large, deep pocket donors? Probably the majority of it. Because I doubt that the average person is throwing money creepy Uncle Joe's way. Biden is taking more steps out of his Delaware home, where he has remained throughout much of the coronavirus pandemic. Yeah, locked in his fucking basement. He comes out for a couple minutes a day. He's like the fucking, he's like the groundhog, okay? If he sees his shadow, he goes running back in. Or I should say, if he sees he's showing senility, he runs back in. He said this week that he can hardly wait to debate Trump. Bullshit. He's scared shitless because he's going to fuck off. He's going to fuck up. He's going to show his senility. Trump's going to fucking fluster him, and he's going to threaten Trump on the stage. You know it. I know it. We all know it. They're going to have like a shock collar on him, and when he's about to threaten Trump, be like, nyeh. Former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, who ran for president in 2008, was initially skeptical of Biden's decision to remain cloistered at home, said that there is no historical context for what is happening, at least in my lifetime. Yes, because you know what? They kept him in his home. They kept him locked up. His people kept him there so that the legacy media could keep pushing their bullshit and lies and actually con a few fucking people. Because when Biden was out there for everyone to see, he wasn't doing that good because they were like, fuck me, he's senile. Fuck me, that pervert's senile. Oh my God. I thought it was a mistake to run a low-key race, he said. But given Trump's erratic behavior and his miscues for now, Biden is running a perfect race, which means let Trump be Trump. Let him self-destruct. That's not what's happening. The legacy media has been pushing bullshit. You've been rigging fucking polls. You've been trying to create this perception in order to make it a reality. Oh my God. Erratic behavior. What erratic behavior? Trump has said, look, you get these people acting like lawless fucking shitbags. Is that erratic these days now? Trump has privately acknowledged he's losing. And I love this. It's a source from a source from a source. Yeah. Okay, bullshit. I remember that article. It was like some fucking bullshit, like anonymous source. But anyway, he's losing and he's desperate to correct course. Republicans view the debates as an opportunity to gain ground, as Bush did, following Dukakis' emotionless response to questions about the death penalty in the event his wife, Kitty, were raped and murdered. No, that's not one of the things that really got him. I hate to break it to you. I love how you bring that up, though. It was the fact that he was pushing his prison reform, and it came out that, yeah, his furloughs led to fucking people getting murdered because they were letting murderers out on them. Let's just leave that out. And Trump's campaign is just beginning to swamp the airwaves with negative ads about the presumptive Democratic nominee. Oh, so wait a minute. Calling out Biden now is negative ads. That's all Biden's been doing. So wait a minute. Biden can do negative ads, okay, which literally talk shit about Trump. The Democrats and Biden, they can talk shit, call him racist, all this other crap. Trump actually calls him out on his actual stuff, and they're negative ads. So I guess they don't like the fact of when they're called out for their shit. About the presumptive Democratic nominee. In a campaign not unlike the Lee Atwater orchestrated assault on Dukakis' fitness to serve, Trump is airing ads casting Biden as aged and confused with mental capabilities that are clearly diminished. Because they are. He's literally taking footage of creepy Uncle Joe, showing that he's a senile old fuck, and using it. And you don't like it because you're trying to go, oh no, creepy Uncle Joe ain't senile. Oh no, creepy Uncle Joe ain't a pervert. That's why there's no kids around him. That's why he's been locked up in his fucking basement. Because you don't want people to see that he's a fucking senile old pervert. Oh, my God, you people are ridiculous. Phil Angdelese, the former California state treasurer who was a major fundraiser for Dukakis and who has bundled money for every Democratic nominee since, said that after Trump's victory in 2016, I don't think we can take anything for granted. But Dukakis, he said, was not well known to voters as Biden, and the economic conditions that year were far better than they are now. Dukakis was known. They try to make it like, oh, Dukakis wasn't known. No, he was known. He was known for not necessarily good things, but he was known. I was alive back then. I remember he was known. Nice try. It was a pretty good environment for the incumbent party, unlike today, Angeli said. I love how they're trying to say, oh, it's because Papa Bush was the incumbent. Oh, yeah, well, he was the incumbent party. He was VP. If anything, the underlying environment may be historically bad for Trump. So bad, he may not only get flattened in November, but he might also become the proximate cause of a wholesale shift in the American electorate. Wow, they're really banking on a lot. Seniors and suburban voters, two longtime pillars of the Republican coalition, are defecting to Joe Biden. Bullshit. 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 This is what's funny. Baby boomers are overwhelmingly fucking Democrat voters. They're not shifting to Biden. They were already there. And suburban voters are not going for creepy Uncle Joe. This is so funny. Once red states suddenly seem competitive and children of Reagan Democrats are marching in the streets. Wow. They're desperate. The tectonic plates are shifting, said Chris Lehane, a former Clinton White House staffer who helped to manage the turmoil surrounding that president's impeachment proceedings. On June 1, if I had told you that by July 1, the flag would be down in Mississippi, Woodrow Wilson would be off the wall at Princeton, Juneth would be the national holiday for company, June 10th would be a national holiday for companies, which it isn't, Black Lives Matter would reflect the great, not so silent majority, you would question my sanity. That's all happened in 30 days. No, that's complete bullshit. Let's go through this, okay? Because this is all like a spurg minority of the population that push for all this shit. This is what's funny. This is commonplace. They're showing that the silent majority. No, they're the vocal minority, and they got some of their spurgery that they wanted. Let's be honest about it, you dumb fuck Lehane. Wow. Because that's what happened here. All right, which I love how they bring up Woodrow Wilson, a progressive, the one who created the history book that led to their supposedly, the how they view history as racist and everything else, which he erased a lot of famous black people from history. I love how, they leave that out, that he was one of them. But hey, whatever. And it was Black Lives Matter. That's a minority. They're not the silent majority. They didn't reflect the silent majority. So nice fucking try. In the midterm election, suburban voters revolted against the president. No, they didn't. They did not revolt against Trump. All right, the people who voted for him, just because they may have voted for Democrats in the 2018 election, does not fucking prove that. You lying sack of shit. Oh my God. They just didn't. Because you think you're trying to equate voting for Trump with you have to vote Republican. That's not how it works. See, but the left thinks that's how it works. And then came the coronavirus pandemic, which has killed about 130,000 people in the United States. Oh, yes, and all you people were pushing that it would kill 2 million people by the point that it had barely broken 100,000. You said that 2 million people, up 1.5 to 2 million people were going to be dead. Nice try. And they didn't end up dead. And we had to flatten the curve. Even if we did it all perfect, those 2 million people, those 1.5 to 2 million people, and trying to flatten the curve, we're all gonna die. They didn't die. We're at 130,000 deaths. You all look like idiots on that note, but no one will call you out on it. Oh my God. Trump's favorability rating cratered, and his problems were compounded by the civil unrest following the death of George Floyd. Yeah. Okay. So his favorability rating cratered because you kept pushing, it's Trump's fault, it's Trump's fault, it's Trump's fault, it's Trump's fault, and a few people bought into it. That's why it quote unquote cratered. But they're starting to see you're full of shit. All right. And this idea that it was compounded with the civil unrest. Oh, so you mean the people that are seeing Black Lives Matter raping and looting and shooting people and, just burning shit down like with Chaz and shit. And you think that people, okay, aren't going to side with Trump when they're seeing that? Are you fucking kidding me? You all tried to lie about what was going on. Going, oh, there's nothing going on in Chaz. Oh, no, there weren't any rapes. Oh, no, there weren't any murders. Oh, no, there weren't any assaults. When Raz, the fucking warlord, okay, was going and shaking down businesses and beating the shit out of fucking people because they threatened his fucking his authority over people. All right, he looked like Cartman on crack with his shit on the whole fact of you will respect my authority. So shut the fuck up, you pieces of shit. You people are disgusting. You truly are disgusting people. Well, Trump responded with a stream of law and order rhetoric. Streets filled with protests amid a national reckoning on race. Oh yeah, and then what happened? The governor, the governor and mayor in Washington looked like shit with Seattle, and the mayor had to go and clean out the fucking people because she was getting her ass suit off, and she also didn't like the fact that they showed up at her place. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. National reckoning on race of bullshit, this bullshit fallacy of systemic racism. Yeah, take your systemic racism, which is complete fallacy, because if that was the case, someone who like Don Lemon, gay, black, all that, wouldn't have the job he had if there was systemic racism. So shut the fuck up. All right, he wouldn't be pushing the lies and the propaganda and the bullshit if there was such a thing as systemic racism. There wouldn't be all these black people in professional fucking sports if there was systemic racism. There wouldn't be the highest paid people in professional sports if there was systemic racism. They wouldn't get special treatment and be allowed to be moved to the head of the line in admissions in colleges. All right, over people with much higher scores and better extracurriculars if there was, this thing of systemic racism. So shut the fuck up, which actually that kind of is systemically racist because you're saying that black people are incapable of getting in on their own merits. So that is kind of systemic racism, but it's the left systemic racism that they go ain't racism. Anyway, let's get through this real quick because we're almost done. The pandemic's bad enough for Trump because he's BS'd his way through it. He hasn't BS'd his way through it, said Paul Maslin, a top Democratic pollster who worked on the presidential campaigns of Jimmy Carter and Howard Dean. Oh, yeah. One-hit wonder and a fucking loser. Yeah. Let's just believe this guy. What George Floyd did is it served to activate this other America to say, wait a minute, who are we? Oh, you mean like with Soros money being pumped into BLM to get this shit going? Yeah, okay. It is possible that the election will be close, he said, but it wouldn't surprise me if it ends up between 8 and 10 points, a landslide for Biden. Yeah, if you people get the fucking, to rig the fucking election with the mail-in ballots, yeah, then that might happen. But you're really going to have to rig the shit out of it. Dietrich at the National Democratic Training Committee said Friday, can we have the election this afternoon? We'd wipe the fucking board with him right now. But polls and momentum, they're a snapshot. We have absolutely no idea where we'll be in November. Still, he said, I would rather it be us than them. Oh, wow. He wants the election now because, oh, yeah, well, we've got the people so fucked up right now and what they believe and everything else. We might actually win. So funny. I mean, this is some funny shit how they're trying to push this. Excuse the fireworks. I'm doing this on the 4th, and I've got some inconsiderate neighbors who, like, where I live, it's all close by, and, yeah, they're basically setting them off outside my window. They're not that loud right now, but if a real loud bang, I apologize if you're wearing headphones. Anyway, I mean, yeah, I just want to show that, like, what they're trying to do here. This is complete propaganda. They are trying to make their bullshit a reality. They are oversampling polls like they did with Hillary that said, oh, she has a 95 to 98% chance of winning. They're doing the same thing with creepy Uncle Joe. They've kept creepy Uncle Joe under wraps. They made it so that there are no children around him because they know he can't keep his hands to himself. They know they keep the women at a minimum around him because with women, he can't keep his hands to himself. They keep his interviews short and sweet because they know he needs to be like corralled. He needs to be like senile, retard, wrangled. All right. And it's hard to do that when he's out in public and everything else. What's saved his ass at this point is it has him looking as good as he does. Is he hasn't been out in front of the general public threatening his, potential voters, his constituents and stuff like that. He hasn't been doing anything like that. But they think that they're going to shape reality and make it happen. Who knows? With what they're planning on doing with mail-in ballots and everything else, they might. But yeah. Anyway, I've covered this well enough. I'm going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.